Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and we're Team Triamudom Suksa. We will explore how a tax increase in the United States, a single decision, can trigger ripples across the globe. Picture this: you are walking through the busy street of downtown New York City. Shops are open, trucks are unloading goods, people are buying their morning coffee. It's a normal day, until you notice something. The pace is a little slower, shoppers are fewer, storefronts a little quieter. Something has changed. Now imagine that the sudden slowdown was triggered by a shift in policy, especially a tax increase in the United States. While tax may seem like a domestic matter, the truth is they are anything but when the US, one of the largest economies in the world, raises tax. It sends ripples across the globe economies. And those ripples, they don't just stop at the US coastline. Let's dive into the words of tax increase. Not just what they mean for Americans, but how they impact trades, investments, global markets, and everyday life around the world. First, when taxes go up, disposable incomes go down. American consumers have less to spend. The phone from South Korea, fashion from Europe, or electronics from China. The immediate result? A reduce of US demand import. Countries that depend on the American market suddenly feel the squeeze. Exporters slow production, jobs are at risk, economies, especially those deeply connected to the US trade, start to wobble. Meanwhile, higher corporation tax in the US make production more expensive. That is a direct hit to American firms, who might now struggle to price their goods competitively on the global stage. And if foreign companies feel unfairly disadvantaged, the doors open for retaliatory traffics and potential trade war. We also can't ignore supply chains. Tax increase could put U.S. companies to reevaluate operation, possibly cutting international suppliers and bringing production back home. It's a move that might boost domestic jobs, yes, but also disrupt elevated global trade flows. And let's not forget currency. If the Federal Reserve reacts to a tax increase, slow down by adjusting interest rate, the U.S. dollar could fluctuate. A stronger dollar hurt explode. A weaker dollar might fuel inflation elsewhere. Either way, global trade balance is start to shift. But perhaps most critically, higher tax can discourage investment, not just in the US but worldwide. If capital gains taxed more heavily, investors might pull back, reducing cross-border investment that fuel innovation and growth. All those effects build into a broader consequence: slower global economic growth. If the US economy cools down, global demand will cool with it. Now it's fair to ask, why would any government raise tax knowing the potential consequence? Well, look at the bigger pictures. As shown in the previous slide, taxes are more than just revenue. They are strategic economic tools. They fund essential public services like healthcare, infrastructures, and education. They help reduce budget deficits and government borrowing, restoring long-term fiscal health. As they used to promote fairness, narrowing the gap between the rich and the poor through redistribution. In some cases, taxes are even used as a tool to control inflation. Whereas households spend less due to the higher tax, inflation can cool down. It's a delicate balance, but it's a deliberate one. The key takeaway: government rate tax not to punish, but to stabilize the economy, promote equality, and support sustainable development. So how does all this play in the economic system? Let's bring the third slide. Here we will look at the ADS model, a framework economists use to explain the broader effect of tax change. When the income tax rises, households consume less. When corporate tax rises, business invest less. Those behavioral costs shift, aggregate demand move to the left. That means lower GDP possibility, lower price level, and slower growth, at least the short run. But for the long run, the picture is more nuanced. If the government uses tax revenue wisely, say investing in clean energy, infrastructure, or digital transformation, productivity can rise. That creates jobs, boosts competitiveness, and plants the seed for future prosperity. However, if the spending is inefficient or potentially mismanaged, then the tax increase becomes a drag, slowing the economy without generating lasting benefits. And let's not forget about the human side of all this, because beyond the numbers and models, tax increase affects people. As shown in the fourth slide, consumers feel this at first. Less disposable income means fewer purchases, lower confidence, and tighter belt, especially for lower income households. Firms react next. Higher tax on profit mean reducing investment in innovation, hiring freeze, or even layoff. The labor market slow, wage growth become caution, job creation soften. In some sectors, job security become fragile. Meanwhile, the government gains more fiscal space, but with that comes responsibility to spend wisely, avoid overreact, and keep the economy moving. The challenge isn't just about raising revenue, it's about using that revenue in a way that supports long-term, broad-based growth.
Let's take a look at the actual data to understand how tax policy has evolved, especially in the US context. In the 1950s and 1960s, the top corporate tax rate in the US was above 50%, yet the economy grew at an average annual rate of around 4%. That's a strong growth rate by any standard. Fast forward to today, the corporate tax rate has fallen significantly to 21% after the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Despite the lower rate, the results have been mixed. While it initially encouraged some investment, it's also contributed to a larger budget deficit. This suggests that cutting taxes doesn't automatically lead to sustainable growth. Historical data tells us that high taxes don't necessarily kill growth. It depends on the context, the structures of the taxes, and how the revenue is used. When we discuss tax policy, we must always consider trade-off. For instance, lower taxes might stimulate short-term economic activities and boost consumer confidence, but they can also widen inequality and reduce the government ability to fund critical services. On the other hand, raising taxes may provide more public revenue for infrastructures, education, and healthcare, but it could also reduce private sector activities in the short run. It's all about balance between economic efficiency and social equity. Ultimately, tax policy is about prioritize. Are we interested in the futures? Are we protecting vulnerable groups? Are we ensuring long-term sustainability? These are the questions that matter. To summarize what we explored so far, tax policy plays a major role in shaping both the economics and society. Too little taxation leads to underfunded public serving, larger deficits, and eventually economic instability. Meanwhile, excessive taxation can discourage investment and reduce productivity. The most effective approach lies in designing a tax system that is fair, efficient, and flexible, adjusting with the needs of the economy over time. This balance between growth and stability is the ultimate challenge for every government. Now, let's zoom out and take a look at how tax systems vary around the world. In many European countries, taxes are higher, but so are the social benefits. Countries like Sweden and Germany have strong public health care, free education, and comprehensive welfare system, all funded through higher income, corporate, and value-added taxes. Meanwhile, the US relies more on income and corporate taxes and less on bad or wealth taxes. This had led to more individual responsibility for healthcare and education costs. The global comparison reminds us that tax policy reflects national values and priorities. It's about what kinds of society we want to build. Of course, tax policy isn't just about economics, it's also deeply political. In many countries, especially the US, public opinion play a big role in shaping tax law. Polls often show that people support higher taxes on the wealthy and large corporations, especially if the revenue goes toward things like healthcare, education, or infrastructures. However, there is usually strong opposition to raising taxes on the middle class or increasing sales tax, which can affect everyone equally. This political reality often limits what's possible, even if economists agree on a policy. So, government must balance public support, political will, and economic needs. If raising taxes is unpopular or politically difficult, are there other ways to increase revenue? Yes, Some alternatives include improving tax collection, closing loopholes, and combating tax evasion. Government can also focus on growing the economy, since a larger GDP brings in more revenue even without changing tax rates. Additionally, smarter public spending, cutting waste, and focusing on high-impact investment can make a big difference. In the long run, well-designed tax increases can support sustainable economic growth by funding better infrastructures, education, and healthcare. The government can improve productivity, increase labor market participation, and create a healthier, more skilled population. However, poorly structured taxes, those that discourage innovation or encourage tax avoidance, can hurt competitiveness and slow down progress. So, the structures and strategies behind tax increases are just as important as the amount being taxed. Based on our research, we have several recommendations for designing effective tax policy. First, focus on progressive taxation, where high-income earners and large corporations contribute a fairer share. Second, ensure the revenue is used for productive investment that generate long-term benefit. Third, apply a counter-cyclical approach, raising taxes during economic booms and providing relief during downtowns. And lastly, maintain transparency and engage the public in decision about how tax money is spent. Tax policy is more than numbers. It's a tool for building a fair, resilient, and forward-looking economy. As one economist said, the right tax at the right time can drive both justice and prosperity. We hope our presentation has shown how complex but also how powerful tax policy can be. Thank you for watching and listening.